Good morning, everybody. This is Cold Spring Shelter. This will take 4 to 5 hikers. It's pretty small. The privy is down this little path right here. And it goes around the corner down here. It is the most unsanitary, welcoming privy that I've seen so far on the trail. It was not nice. And then the water source is right here. So literally you are at your shelter, you've got a fire ring, you've got the water source, and then it says camping right there, but what it means is camping. Here's the trail. You go a quarter mile up the trail and there is tent camping. So this was a really nice shelter to stay in. It rained all last night. It rained most of the day yesterday, and this shelter is very pretty. Has a brand new tin roof on it. It was a nice place to stay. Once you leave Cold Spring Shelter, you come up to this sign, and so we are going towards Tellico Gap. If you look right there, you can see the blaze on the tree. Good morning, everybody. I've just left Cold Spring Shelter, and I was on the AT, and there was a little, not a blue blaze, but a little cutoff, so I decided to take it. I want to show you what I'm looking at. Look at that. That is awesome. And I don't know if you can tell, but right there, that is a mountain peak. Those are mountain peaks back there. Wow. This is so beautiful. The clouds are moving. Look at those clouds right there moving. Oh gosh. So beautiful. The rays of the sun trying to come through. With those clouds in the background. The white clouds. Gosh. I think this might be my blessing of the day. The trail is really pretty this morning, heading down to Nantahala, and for Julian and Axel, Emma, Rylan, Ford, Witt, and Shep, Nantahala Outdoor Center is where I'm going, and it's called the NOC. So when hikers are talking, they just say we're heading for the NOC, and that is NOC, not KNOCK. So Nonnie is heading for the NOC, and this is going to be a 12-mile day for me to get there. Yesterday was a 10-mile day to get to Cold Spring Shelter. That day was pretty tough. If you look at the ground, it has rained almost every day, and this is just an ooky-gooky mess all the way around. It rained all the night before, last night, rained most of the day yesterday. It's not raining right now, but rain is in forecast, and that's okay. It's part of the journey. I don't know what the temperature is this morning. I forgot to check. It's just a little bit windy. Maybe 10, 15 mile an hour winds. Maybe. I'm not sure about that. Last night, my Marine buddy Jason caught up with me and stayed in the shelter, and he is an incredible young man. He is 40 years old and served in, I think I'm going to get this right, Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, and retired but he retired with disability because he suffered from 2 traumatic brain injuries. This is his second time hiking ET, and as we were talking, another gentleman walked up, and he is a retired vet from the Army, and no smack talk. They both served in the same areas, and it was kind of hard to listen to their conversations. They were pretty vivid about their experiences there. But, you know, those people defended our country, and that's what they had to go through. And I would have never told them to stop, because first, that would have been rude. Second, they have as much right to talk about what they want to in that shelter as I do. Now, if I had had a child in the shelter, I might have asked them to step out and have that conversation somewhere else. But I didn't. I've only had one day since I've been gone that was a little blue. It wasn't too bad, but I really miss my husband and my grandchildren. So this has been, you know, in an effort to be honest and transparent. I want to share with you that's happened. But they are being supportive and sweet. And it's funny because Jason said this morning, as I was packing up my gear, he said, "Miss Nonnie," he calls me Miss Nonnie, "Miss Nonnie, if you were my wife, I would never let you hike the AT." I said, "Oh, is that right?" He said, "No, ma'am." I said, "And why is that?" He said, "Because I wouldn't want my wife to be gone that long. And you sound like you're very close to your husband, and I would just miss you." And I was like, oh, that was just so sweet. But I said, "Well, Jason, I've got a really supportive husband. He's a hiker. He supports me in everything, and we are going to see each other soon, so it's okay." And he said, no, ma'am, I would not want you hiking ET. I said, okay. Anyway, I am going down a bunch of rocks, so I'm going to sign off for now. I'll come back a little bit later. I wanted to show you all this forest. It is so green, even though there are no leaves on these trees. And it's because these trees are covered with lichen. And it just gives the appearance that, you know, it's just very, very green. It's beautiful. It's certainly a different way to look at a forest when there are no leaves. So I did want to ask you viewers, when we lived in Savannah, Georgia, we had something that looked like this that grew on the trees, and it was Spanish moss. I don't know what that is, but I see it everywhere, and if one of you knows what that is, if you would share that with me, I would really appreciate it. And I do know that there are apps that can identify this, but I'm kind of choosing just to ask my audience to do that, if you don't mind. It's not laziness, it's just trying to include you in the process of hiking. And I love hearing your comments and your feedback. So the trail has mostly been descending today. Yesterday I started off the day with a 1,110 foot ascent. Whoo, baby, was that hard. I was puffing. And then the rest of the day was kind of up and down, up and down, up and down. But to get to Cold Spring Shelter, it was another 694 feet descent. It was another 694 foot descent. Ascent. It was another 694 foot ascent. When I got into that shelter, I ate my dinner, went to the restroom, washed my hands, not in that order, and I was in that bag by 5:30, and I didn't get up until 6 o'clock this morning. I was exhausted. That was one tough day, and it was only 10 miles, but there were a lot of ascents and descents yesterday, a lot. Today is mostly descents, woohoo, And the other side of that is, after you stay at NOC, when you leave, it's straight uphill. Anyway, it's a beautiful day. I've had a chance to do a lot of meditation, pondering, thinking, putting those little boxes that I told you were floating around in my head where they need to be. It's working well. And peace. I have met so many wonderful, wonderful people. Kind, knowledgeable, friendly, warm, approachable, amiable, just the nicest people. And but I've been surprised that I have met some people, not just the two that I shared with you before, some other people that are, they're just not, let's just say, they're not people. I think that they just do best when they're probably by themselves. And so I just give them their space. And however, sometimes that's hard to do because these people like to share their encyclopedic wealth of information and knowledge with you and tell you everything you're doing wrong and that your pack is too heavy. And you know, I know my pack is too heavy, and I'm working on it. And so I'm not, I did a video once that said if it's not kind, if it's not useful, it's not helpful, maybe just hit the pause button and think about what you're saying. And I think some of these people could probably learn a little by that lesson. I'm not sure how helpful it is to point out to other people that their pack is too heavy all the time. I've got to think about that. Anyway, I've decided to laugh about it and let it go. But every time I hear it, I just kind of, I'm like, well, thank you. Thanks for letting me know. I didn't realize it was that heavy, but you're probably right, and I just leave it at that. I'm hiking along, and I've just come across this. I want to turn the camera around. What somebody did to a tree that fell. I think that is very cool. I like it. I think I left just early enough in the hiking season that most days I'm by myself almost all day long, which for me has been a good thing. It's what I've preferred. I've met a few hikers along the way, and they've been very nice. We've stopped and talked for a few minutes, but everybody kind of goes on their own separate way. Not to mention the fact that I hike slow, and I hike about 2 miles an hour, and other people hike much faster than me. I can't hike faster because I just can't hike faster. That's it for me for right now. Maybe as I get a little further on the trail, I'll be able to do more. Hopefully I will, because it'll take me until maybe March of 2024 to get to Katahdin. Well, that wouldn't work, would it? Katahdin's not even open then. Anyway, if I don't pick it up at some point, woo! See what I mean about the trail being slippery? Look, there's a whole forest floor of these beautiful, beautiful green plants that you all previously identified. Very, very pretty. I've run across this 2 or 3 times as I've been hiking. It's funny how they'll grow in big clusters like that, and then a little bit further down the trail there'll just be 1 or 2. It's very interesting. Very, very pretty. Okay, so we are coming up to Tellico Gap, and This is interesting. I see no gap. Maybe it's around the corner. This sign is just out here in the middle of, it's just the trail and then a drop off. So let's go see where that leads. The wind is picked up. It's pretty windy. And the ground is very, very soft and slushy. Slushy, mushy. Doesn't look like it right here, but that's been what I've had this morning. Ah, okay. Here we go. If you can look. I see. So if you can look right down there, there's a road, and that must be where Tellico Gap actually is. This is the trail that I just came down into Tellico Gap, and this is what it looks like when you get here. There's just some roads. There is the blaze right there. I'm going to go up that direction, and another road. Got 8 more miles to go before I get to the NOC. That is the mountain I just came down. That's a 5,000 footer. Wow. Yay me. Yay me. That's what it looks like around me. Lots and lots of brush and debris have been cleaned off and thrown in this ravine in order to clear this path for our hikers. This is amazing. Trailblazers, trail maintainers, thank you so much for the very, very hard work that you do. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. I mean, this is incredible, the amount of branches that have been thrown off into this ravine. I want to go up here a little bit. I think there's a view that I want to see. Look at the clouds today. Wow. I love the clouds. I remember laying on the ground as a little girl and looking at the clouds and deciding what they looked like to me. Different animals, or you know, a building or something. That is one of my favorite memories of childhood. It's a pretty narrow little trail. And so, let me see. Let me back up here. This is a perfect example for you little loves that I was talking about of lichen on the trees. These trees are just covered in lichen. Covered, covered, covered. So pretty. And we are going uphill. This is a 700 and some foot ascent. And then we'll be descending the rest of the way to NOC. Very, very pretty. Okay. Here's some more of those beautiful, beautiful plants that you all have identified for me. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Look at this. Oh, that cloud formation's moving. That's a big wow for me. Okay, everybody, this is Wesser Bald Tower, and it is pretty windy and kind of really wanting to rain, but still thinking about it. Look at that. That is magnificent. Wow. This is just beautiful. Come on over here. Go slow. Look at that. This is just breathtaking. That is a 360 view, everybody. Awesome. I was coming down, and all of a sudden, here's this going off the cliff. Holy moly. Right there is just a sheer drop off. And then the trail goes around that big boulder and down that way. Holy Toledo. I am enshrouded in fog. Wow. You can't tell from that, but that is just straight down. I had to throw my hiking poles where I'm standing now, and I had to come down that on my rear end. And over the top of that is a cliff. It just goes off, just down, down, down. Oh, oh my goodness. And now we're going this way. Thank you. Well, everybody, I made it. This has been a long, long day. 8 miles of pouring down rain. But I'm here. I'm at NOC. Yay me! Whew. This is the view from the other side of the bridge. And the water is very, very high right now. Normally these Adirondack chairs are sitting over here on the other side of this wooden piling. Kind of down in this gravel area, but the water is high. It has been raining so much. And that is the restaurant, and we're going to go over the bridge. This is Big Wesser Riverside Bar, where they serve hamburgers and different things. That is the outfitter store, and I'm not going to show you too much in this video because I've actually done a video on this before when I did a shakedown hike. However, I will say again, I do want to show you that these lanes that you see, these are for kayakers that are doing their Olympic training to go through those bars right there. And they do twist and rolls, submerge themselves, and come back up. It's really interesting to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch whenever they're out here training. This is where my grandson and I went whitewater rafting in May of this past year, and it was an awesome experience. We're going to walk on across this bridge, and there is the River's End restaurant. They have very good food, but they are exceedingly expensive. It's $19 for a hamburger. And there's the general store. That is where you would check in if you have accommodations here. Right behind the general store is where I came off trail yesterday. This is a selection of their hiker food, and it is limited compared to mountain crossings and other places. Even around the Bend hostels, food supply for backpacking meals is larger than this.